So, I have just finished watching the series premiere of the Book of Boba Fett, and now it is time to review it. So, yeah, now, join me, Lucamus Prime, and my best friend, Oppo Ranscisis, as we review the episode together. So, yeah, anyway, cue the intro.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Alright guys, so as always, I'm going to let Alexander share his thoughts on the episode first. And guys, if you want to, please go subscribe to his channel. I'll have a link to it down below in the description. So yeah, anyway, take it away, Oppo.
Hello there. This is Boba Fett. I am not Oppo Ranscisis. I am Boba Fett. Did you believe me? Well, you were wrong to believe me because I'm not Boba Fett. This is your lovely pal, Oppo Ranscisis. And unfortunately, you might notice far inferior quality right now to the previous reviews. Far inferior sound, especially with the echo. Unfortunately, I didn't really have time right now. Neither did I get the opportunity to prepare much. So the sound and the audio will be awful. Well, not awful, but, below what I usually produce for these reviews. And the quality might also not be as good, but I think it's decent enough. And also, there's very little storage on my phone, so I'm gonna rush through this as quickly as I can. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so the creature with the 4 arms. It was a very good creature. I really enjoyed that they were adding new creatures into Tatooine. I think it was great. It really fitted the setting. However, I want to point out that it felt like CGI. It definitely looked like CGI. I don't think it was practical, but it felt like it was trying to mimic a practical effect, and I don't understand why they were doing this because it took me out. The way it was moving looked like it was a man in a suit moving. I don't think it was, but it looked that way. The old King Kong, Godzilla stuff, like when they had the people in suits. And it kind of took me out. It didn't make me fully believe in this creature, whereas all the other stuff did, I think. However, I really liked the Boba Fett flashback. Seeing Kamino, especially after Bad Batch, was absolutely wonderful. I was very fascinated with it. And secondly, in regards to that, I want to point out that the Geonosis flashback was fantastic. Attack of the Clones is my favorite movie, so it was nice to see the Geonosis from a different angle. It was new shots. I don't think it was unused footage. I think it was new footage, and it looked very good, but it was very Jon Favreau rather than George Lucas. It felt very Jon Favreau. And lastly, I want to point out that the orange Twi'lek, even though it wasn't him, really reminded me of the actor Patrick Fischler from Once Upon a Time. Now I gotta end this and wrap this up. Thank you for featuring me in the review, Luke.
Alright, so now it's my turn to review the episode. So yeah, now, this was definitely a really amazing series premiere, guys. I really enjoyed it. It was so good, yeah, really good, and one of my favourite premieres of the Star Wars shows, in my opinion, when it comes to, the live action ones, maybe better than Mandalorian's premieres, I don't know, but this was such a great episode. I really had a really fun time watching this, yeah. It was so great. So, I'm going to talk in spoilers, guys, so here's what the episode's about. So the episode begins with a shot of Jabba the Hutt's palace, which has now, of course, been taken over by Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, if you guys have watched the Series 2 finale of The Mandalorian Series 2. And basically, it then shows Boba Fett is in a bat tank healing, so that explains why he's no longer scarred in the trailers compared to how he's in Mandalorian Series 2. So that confused me in the trailers, but thankfully this episode clarified why he's no longer scarred. And so that explains what we're happy about. But while he is he's resting in the Bat-Tan, what is really cool is we actually got some flashbacks of his past life. So we got a flashback showing him as a child picking up Jango Fett's helmet. So yeah, that was a nice little flashback to Battle of Geonosis' aftermath, and you think it was archive footage from Attack of the Clones. And we also as well saw a flashback of him in the Sarlacc pit, which was pretty cool. And it shows how he escapes. He's basically submerged in the digestive system, and he's able to take off an oxygen unit from a stormtrooper's remains and to use, and then he punches a hole through a Sarlacc's gut, and then he fires his flamethrower. He then climbs out onto the sands of the pit, and he's very tired and weakened, and he climbs out and lying on the floor. But later at night, he's discovered by some Jawas who, of course, like as implied in The Mandalorian Series 2, they steal his armor and beat him up. And they steal his jetpack as well. He awakens, but one of the Jawas knocks him out, so yeah. So he knows the Jawas took his armor, and I assume that, you know, in the flashbacks, it will show how he finds out that they gave it to Cobb Vanth in The Mandalorian Series 2's premiere. After this, a group of Tusken Raiders come across him, unconscious, and they capture him, and they bind his hands with a rope, and they take him, and they give him a drink from a gourd, and yeah, which helps, you know, to give his health back. And we even got to see some Banthas, guys, which was pretty cool. And yeah, and he's forced to walk through the intense heat of the desert, and he collapses from exhaustion, and they've got to drag him. He's bound to a post, and he's guarded by the Tusken sentries, and there was another prisoner, guys, which was a red Rodian. We got a Rodian as a prisoner. And so yeah, and there's also a Massif, which is also there too, resting. And Boba Fett is trying to break out of his ropes, but it draws his attention to a Massif, and it lunges at him, and they fight. He's able to knock it out, but he uses its sharp teeth to cut his bonds. He asks the Rodian if he wants to cut his bonds as well, but the Rodian cries out, and a Tusken sentry intervenes, but Fett overpowers him, knocking the stick out of his hands. It was a Gaddafi stick, I think it's called, yeah. And the Rodian cries out, which alerts the rest of the Tuskens. So Boba Fett flees into the desert with a Massif in pursuit. But the creature catches up to him, and he fights it with the stick. But the Tuskens catch up to him, and they watch, and the beast returns to its Tusken masters. And then Boba Fett has a fight with a Tusken, which was a pretty very well choreographed duel, in my opinion. It was pretty cool. But unfortunately, Fett gets knocked down by the other Tuskens, and by the Tusken again another second time, and then the others surround him, and they kick him to the ground, and he falls unconscious again. Then we get back into present day, guys, where he's walking up from his back to tank healing by Fennec, who is, of course, his new assistant, after he saved her in the Series 1 Mandalorian off-screen. And he suspends his healing session, and he climbs out of it, and yeah, he looks pretty good, actually, very in good health, guys, now, thanks to his scars being gone. And he tells Shan about the dreams coming back, and she reminds him that they're expecting guests who've come to pay their respect. So, and we got to see Boba Fett get into his Mandalorian armor with droids helping him, which was pretty cool, and he puts on his helmet. Then he sits in Jabba's throne room, where a creature called an Aqualish speaks in a language and presents a box of credits. And the droid, which is 8D8, guys, who you may know from hearing in A New Hope, actually. I think he did in A New Hope, and also, I think in Return of the Jedi as well, as one of the droids, which was a pretty nice little callback to the original trilogy. Fett doesn't understand what the Aqualish says, because it's speaking in the Aqualish language. So Fennec explains that it said something about friendship, and so Fett says that they need a protocol droid. 828 then presents Doc Strassi, who is the leader of the Trandoshan family, and I think he's actually played by the director Robert Rodriguez, which is pretty cool. So Robert Rodriguez played this character, Doc Strassi, and he's protectors of Mos Espa City Centre in his business territories. And Fett recalls that he used to work for Doc, so that was pretty nice. We might probably see Doc in flashbacks, guys, I don't know, maybe. So Doc addresses Fett as the new Daimon, and Fett says it is his pleasure to be welcomed to Mos Espa by Doc, and he presents 888 with a rug. Doc wishes that Fett may leave Mos Espa before walking away. Fett confides with Fennec that the Trandoshan's compliment sounds like a threat. So the next guest is Mok Shaiz, who is the mayor of Mos Espa and its surrounding plateaus. So Mok corrects that he is the mayor's majordomo, and Shan recalls that the mayor was coming to pay tribute. Mok apologises for the understandable misunderstanding in the mayor's correspondence, and Boba extends his greetings and appreciation for the mayor's tribute. Mok clarifies that this was another understandable misunderstanding, and says that the only tribute that he bears is the mayor's heartfelt welcome, which he expresses in his stead. When Shan asks if he brings no tribute, Mok reiterates the mayor's heartfelt welcome and claims that he has been drawn away by pressing matters. So Fennec warns Mott that if he had shown the same instance to Jabba, then he would have fed him to his menagerie, who I assume was the Rancor, probably. So Mott says sorry. Boba Fett then tells Mott to tell the mayor that he's here now, and Mott replies that he knows and raises a matter of tribute. And Fennec explains to Boba Fett that the mayor wants Boba to pay him. Boba replies that he's a crime lord and the mayor of Mos Espa is supposed to pay him. Fennec wants to kill him, but Boba disagrees, saying that Mott works for a mayor. So Fennec tells Mott that Lord Fett, as he's called out, which is a pretty cool name for him, allows him to leave unmolested. Mott apologises and says that he will convey Boba Fett's sentiment to the mayor. Mott warns Boba and Fennec that they will receive another delegation in the future. Boba tells Fennec to keep an eye on Mott. 8D8 then had an unidentified character bring in 2 Gamorrean prisoners. So we got 2 Gamorrean guards, guys, who had once served Jabba, and they've transferred their allegiance to Bib Fortuna. But they did not surrender even after Bib Fortuna was killed by Boba in the Series 2 finale of Mandalorian. 8D8 says that they were captured alive as a tribute to Boba Fett, and says that their tortured squeals will send a message to potential challengers to his throne. Boba says he does not torture, and 8D8 counsels his master to show strength in order to win acceptance as a Daimor. Complimenting their loyalty to their previous bosses, Boba offers to spare the lives of Gamorreans if they were to serve him, and then they bow to him, and they submit to him, but Fennec warns him this is a bad idea. They then go to Mos Espa, guys, and I gotta say that Mos Espa was very well designed in my opinion. You know, it was looked pretty cool actually. You know, very visually stunning, definitely, and they did really well filming this as well, guys. You know, especially because of the protocols with COVID. They did really well filming it, and yeah, it also worked pretty well according to the directors because most of the characters were wearing masks anyway, so it worked really well for them. And yeah, so in Mos Espa, Fennec chides Boba for not letting the guard carrying him on a litter, you know, like a throne. But Boba Fett says that he doesn't want to be carried around like a useless noble. He wants to walk in his own feet. But Fennec says this is a sign of power, and people in Mos Espa are used to seeing the huts being paraded around the streets. But of course, Boba Fett doesn't want to because he's not a hut, is he? So yeah. Now, in a cantina, the cantina was pretty cool, guys. We got lots of various creatures of different kinds and droids. I think we even saw Max Rebo from the Cantina band playing music alongside a Biff musician, which was pretty awesome. Nice to see Max Rebo return. We also got to see several droids. We got to see like a protocol droid writing stuff down. I think it was a waiter. I don't know. Pretty weird head design, though, that I've never seen before. It was pretty interesting, though. We even got some astronaut droids which were serving drinks like R2 did in Return of the Jedi on Jabba's barge. And one of the droids asked if they're here for drinks, but Fennec said they're not. They're here for business with Madame Garza Thwip. I think that's how you pronounce it, yeah. 2 Twi'leks ask if they would like their helmets clean while they wait for Garza. And Fennec says no, but Fett accepts their offer and allows them to their helmets to be cleaned in order to accept their ways. Madame Garza Thwip is a female Twi'lek with olive skin. She welcomes them to a sanctuary, I think is what it's called, this place, the sanctuary. Pretty nice place, actually, guys. And asks if they like any of their sundry offerings. Boba says maybe another time and gets down to business. So yeah, and so it's pretty cool scene actually, yeah. And so Garza apologizes that she did not see his litter, prompting Boba that he replaced Bib Fortuna. So Boba says that he prefers to walk on his own 2 feet, rather than being carried around like the Hutts were. So yeah, after explaining that he's replaced Bib Fortuna, he explains that he's here to introduce himself and reassures her that the business will continue under his watchful eye. Garza thanks him for travelling to a sanctuary and says that he's always welcome there and granting him ownership. The attendants who claim the helmets then return their helmets to them, while Fennec remarks that Boba Fett's helmet looks shinier than hers. So yeah. When they're departing, Boba Fett tells Fennec that Jabba had many vessels, and they have a lot of ground to cover to keep his empire intact. Fennec offers to cover the grounds on her own, but saying that Jabba rarely left his chambers, and Fett replies that Jabba ruled by fear, while he intends to rule by respect. So yeah. Fennec then counters that in difficult times, fear is a surer bet. However, guys, as they leave them, they get ambushed by some gangsters. They're wearing some crimson and clothing, and they have stun batons and energy shields. And we got a really awesome fight scene, guys. Very well choreographed and brilliant. We got to see Boba Fett showing off his skills. Brilliant, in my opinion. Also, Fennec was fighting as well. It was pretty cool. And the Gamorreans also came to help them as well. And they took down 3 of them. But Boba Fett gets a bit wounded in the fight because he does get, electrocuted a couple of times. And yeah. And unfortunately, the credits in his helmet get lost as well. And get collected by bystanders who are witnessing the fight. So yeah. And he orders the Gamorreans to take him back to Bacta to heal his wounds, while he tells Fennec to capture one of the gangsters alive. And she was really cool with her stunts, guys, doing lots of acrobatics and athletics. She was really good, and she reaches them, but she's forced to dive off a rooftop to escape a counterattack, and she allows the 2 to continue their escape. And around the corner, they come face to face with her because she's getting the lead on them. She disarms the 2. She knocks one of them off the rooftop to his death, but she captures the other one. So she kept a promise to keep one of them alive, so that worked well. Now, while Boba Fett is healing, he has another dream in the past while he's in his Bacta tank dreaming. And it continues where he's chained up to that, wooden pole. So, yeah. And he's walking by Tusken and led away by his bound hand with his feet chained to the Rodian, who follows. And they come into a sand dune where we see a homestead. Now, this homestead reminded me a lot of Luke's homestead, guys. I don't know if it was the same one or not, because obviously in A New Hope it got burnt down and, was very heavily burnt with lots of, with lots of soot everywhere. So I don't think it was the same one, but inspired by it, I think, based on the design. So, yeah. And they see a homestead, and the owners are being attacked by some beings, unknown beings, and they paint a symbol onto a homestead before they get on speeder bikes and ride off. They then come to a stop where they have to dig and to look for a gourd which is filled with liquid, which is a source of water. So it appears as though that water sources are buried under the sand, guys. Rodian finds one before Boba does, and he's able to take a drink. And Boba Fett finds one for himself, and however, before he can drink his gourd, the Tusken child, who is among the Tuskens, takes the gourd from Boba and pours it out for Massive to drink. And some unfortunately spills onto the sand, so yeah, what a waste that was. And Boba Fett then has a go at the Rodian, saying they could have escaped if he didn't alert the Tuskens. And then Boba Fett, then, if he didn't keep his mouth shut, he would have probably got away. Fett says if he can get to Anchorhead, he can get them off-world. And he grumbles about strangling Rodian and feeding him to a watchdog. And Rodian then said something back to him in Rodian language, which Boba Fett actually understood, so he can understand Rodian. Now, this was a pretty freaky scene, guys, where they come across a large, scaly mass, which looked like some sort of claw thing. And it grabbed a Rodian's arm, and more arms came out. And this was like a big beast, which had 4 arms. Like, that was pretty freaky, guys. Yeah, it gave me a bit of a jump scare watching it, because it came out of nowhere, how big it was. So, yeah. And it grabbed the Rodian, and also several Tuskens, and yeah. And the Massive also tried to attack as well, but it got thrown away by the creature. It then killed the Rodian. By crushing it in the sand. So that was the end of the Rodian. And it then holds both helps upside down. And a Tusken then stabs the creature's foot, but the creature throws away Fett and hits the Tusken, which causes it to hurtle into the sands. The creature then turns back to Boba and goes after a Tusken teenager who, the kid one. But Boba, however, runs on the creature's back while it's distracted, and he wraps the chains around its neck, and he's able to break its neck and cause it to suffocate to death. And this earns the respect of the Tuskens towards him, so they respect him now for taking down the creature. They then return back to a Tusken camp with the creature's head as a trophy, and the return sparks a celebration among the Tusken clan, and the adolescent Tusken talks about stories of a battle with the creature, and and then the leader then gives him a gourd of water to drink, so he gives Boba Fett a drink, and yeah. So yeah, that was a very nice story actually, guys. I like how this episode actually showed, more flashbacks from the actual main story, because, I've always wanted to ask, since I saw Mandalorian Series 2, how did Boba Fett escape a Sarlacc pit, and this episode finally showed it, and yeah. And also, how did he lose his armor to the Jawas, and also, like what else happened to him before he met Fennec. So yeah, that was really good in my opinion. How we showed a lot of flashbacks, yeah. And of course, the scene in present day was also really awesome as well. I love the fight scene in the sanctuary. It was very well choreographed, and like I said, they filmed it so well considering it was a pandemic, and yeah, with all our protocols, so, and it worked really well. But yeah, this was a great start to a series, guys. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. One of the best Star Wars show premieres, in my opinion. It was so amazing. I really loved it. And Tamar Morrison, in my opinion, is still got us Boba Fett. And I can tell he really enjoys playing him in this episode. He really enjoys it. And Ming-Na Wen is also amazing as Fennec as well, in my opinion. She is great as always. Yeah, I really enjoyed her in this episode. And yeah, everyone else was also pretty cool as well. I liked all the other characters. Yeah, pretty good. So yeah. I'm wondering what my creature's called, though, guys, because I don't think I've seen it before in any Star Wars media. I wonder what it is. Because, yeah, I think it's a new creature I've never seen before. Yeah, never seen it. But, yeah. Anyway, guys, so this is me reviewing the series premiere of the Book of Boba Fett, which was called Stranger in a Strange Land with Alexander. So, yeah, we had a really fun time watching this episode, and, yeah. So, you know a drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys thought of this series premiere, if you single to your thoughts are on it. And also, like I said at the start, please be sure to subscribe to Alexander's channel. I'll have links in the description below, so please go check out his channel, go subscribe to him. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for more videos in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press join if you need a PC or laptop. You can click the little description. And may the force be with you always.